I'm not exactly sure when this happened. When did the 49er fan base become the biggest, baddest, strongest, loudest, most unbelievable traveling entity that we've seen in sports? When did this happen?
It was September 4th, Mark, 1997 is when it happened. I'll never forget it. Okay. A day that will live in infamy.
What happened?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know when it happened.
Didn't this sneak up on you too? What is this? Right? What was the ticket agency that last year was like, they win fan base of the year? But hold on. This is Pittsburgh.
Right.
The opener. Let's go Niners chant?
Sure.
What the hell is going on?
Yes.
Did you see Mayoko's tweet about how the personnel at the airport said they've never seen anything like this in the history of the city?
Yeah.
They've never seen lines, colors, chants. They've never seen anything like this. I congratulate all of you, those of you who just got back. Nice job. But I also have a curiosity about it. I've slipped and fallen and become part of it too. I've been to more Niner road games than home games the last 2 years. Thank you. I don't know what happened, but it's awesome. That's all I want to say about it.
It's a thing. It's a thing, and if you have a game and you play the Niners and you have a home game, be ready for the takeover. And the takeover happens in its relative amounts. Like, you're not going to go to every single stadium and take it over. I know last year in the NFC Championship game, there were a lot of Niner fans there, but there was no takeover. Eagle fans carried the day. And it's a playoff game, and I get that. And I wonder how this year's Eagles game will go when the Niners go back to Philadelphia. Knowing what we know about the treatment of Niner fans, do more show up? Is it going to be even more hostile than it was?
It's not always a takeover. Like even yesterday, I don't think it was a takeover. The chants were not audible until the Niners were kicking the living tar out of the Steelers.
Sure.
But there's a presence. There's always a presence. And if you think that this wasn't wait till you see this Sunday. Okay? This Sunday's a home game. I don't care what the area code is. This Sunday is a home game. It is going to be red. It's going to be crazy.
In L.A.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's going to be overwhelming. You look at the road games that are upcoming.
It was crazy.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Cleveland, the dog pound will show. There'll be a presence.
Especially now.
Minnesota, the Bold North Skull, but there will be a presence.
Ooh.
Jacksonville, that's a weird one. I don't know what to think about that. Seattle, Philadelphia, Arizona, Washington. Those are the games this year. I don't sense a whole lot of quote-unquote takeovers. There just is going to be a presence.
Always.
But I don't
know when this happened. It feels like in the last 5 years, maybe it's longer than that, but it feels like more and more Niner fans want to travel, and Niner fans who live elsewhere want to show up and show out. And that's, part of it's a byproduct of being a good team, because when you have a successful team, fans who are, fans anyway, you're going to want to put on your jersey and show up. If the Niners stink, like Chip Kelly, if you want to go back to the Chip Kelly days and look at all the road crowds in that season, I would bet that there was less of a takeover effect when they were 2-14.
Okay, so yet another feather in the cap of Kyle Shanahan, because this started under his regime. No two ways about it. And I love it for two reasons. I love it for the messaging of just the energy of the Niner fan base. But the other reason I love it, growing up in and living in a West Coast city, we always get made fun of for what happens in our stadium.
Right.
Oh, the takeover. And how many East Coasters or Midwesterners have you heard? You sit down next to them at a game, and oh, God, this would never happen at our ballpark. Oh, yeah? Yes, it will.
It's happening.
Get the Niners on your schedule and watch, because some of the absolute blue bloods of the sport are watching their own stadium get covered in red. The Steelers on the opener and audible "Let's Go Niners" chants are coming through your TV set. It's an unbelievable job by the fans, and it's an announcement that things are different.
Right, and things are different in part because you go up 20-0 before the Steelers even had a first down, and that game was over. So even all of the terrible towel waving Western Pennsylvanians who wanted to be loud and they wanted to, hold their own in the crowd. You didn't have much to cheer about. Yeah, you got a touchdown at the end of the first half, and I love how the Steelers, Freiermuth, and one of his offensive linemen, they did like the running dab or whatever that celebration was. It's like, oh yeah, get happy, go crazy. You cut it to 20-7. Go ahead and celebrate. That's one of the ones that always kind of, I don't know if it irks me or whatever, but have some perspective.
Well,
and I get it.
Yeah,
You're
you scored a touchdown.
You scored a touchdown. It's a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
Flip the ball to the ref, run back in, and try to cut the deficit again.
I mean, come on. Energy in the building. You know how you would react if you had 60,000 screaming voices directed at you.
Have you seen me celebrate when I get that's a good question?
Exactly.
I just tip my cap to the interviewer.
Oh, right. Dude, you get up and do a lap around the building.
Dude, let's go. Let's go.
Sometimes you do it when you didn't even get one.
Whatever. You're a hater.
You're damn right. Let's go to Tone in San Jose. Tone, what are you doing? Thanks for calling.
Hey, what's up, fellas? Love the show. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
And Willard, that's a great point, Willard.
Don't pander.
I saw all the red in the stadium. When I first saw all the red in the stadium, I'm like, did they paint the seats red? Like, what is this?
Man, it's different, Tone. I don't know when. I don't know what. I know a little bit about why, but it is really fun. It's fun to sit at home and watch your fan base go really have such a presence in other cities around the country.
Oh, for sure. We loving it. But just to want to, keep showing love like everybody else. Love to see CMC out there beasting. Want to see Mitchell get in there, get some more reps. Love to see Fred Warner just come out dialed in and setting the tone, man. I was juiced yesterday. The only thing that makes me a little nervous is Brock Purdy's pocket awareness. I want it, on the right side. That's the only thing that scares me. When he got hit, I'm not sure who hit him, who caught him, but he was blind on that right side hit. That's the only thing that worries me.
Yep.
So hopefully, the boys can kind of protect him a little bit more.
Tone, it's a great call, and I think we all feel it, and we do admit that we feel a little differently about this than maybe other fan bases because of where we've been and what we've been through with the quarterback injuries. So for a little while, especially with the offseason we've just had, we're going to be extra sensitive to the quarterback getting hit. Everybody hates it when your quarterback gets hit, but we're extra sensitive to it. That said, none of you who are bringing that up today are wrong. That roll to the left, which is very comfortable for him, I actually thought he's very accurate and smart with the throws that he's able to execute. I just wish that his clock had one less second on it.
Right.
So when you roll left and then you plant to throw, you got to do it while you still have the ability to release and then get down. If you don't, then my man, just keep running, throw it out of bounds, and live to see another day. When you plant and throw and then just get that tattoo right on your chest, you know what it reminds me of? It feels almost like the hit from the New York Giants that knocked Joe Montana.
Oh.
And I know that was different.
Soon.
Well, I know that was rolling right, and he kind of got hit low.
Oh, crunched right in the back.
And then got hit high.
Yep.
But the reason it reminds me of, it's that thing where he stopped and he planted and he had one less second than he thought he did. And it busted up his 49er career.
Right.
And so I do wish that. I wish, Brock, just one less second in your timer. Get rid of that ball.
And that's something that comes with experience, and you can't ask him to look over and see where the pass rush is because you're locking on the receiver. You can't look over at the pass rush and then try to find where the receiver is and look at the defense and all the rest of it. You just kind of have to feel that, and hopefully over time he'll start to get a little bit more of that internal clock to know when, it's 1-2, get rid of the ball, and right now it feels like it's 1-2-3, and then he gets rid of it, and that's the kind of play where his season ended last year, where he held the ball too long. He was trying to make a play, and by the time he's getting ready to throw it, the defender's on him and collapses his arm and rips his elbow off, and the rest is history.
Yeah, so I think that we've all got to go through this together, because we've been bitten by this. And so every time for a handful of weeks, when Brock gets touched up, it's going to feel a little bit different. But the good news is when they come out of the game the way they did, like this is all the stuff that we were talking about Brock needing to do. They're like, okay, he's got to go out there and got to take his first hit. And it doesn't matter until you do it at actual game speed.
Right.
And all of those things, that checklist that we talked about, green check, green check, green check, green check. And as much as it's hard to watch all that happen, he needed those things to happen so that he can now start to progress to the point where we're not sitting there thinking about it on every play.
Well, we're going to think about it, and he's not thinking about it. And he actually got hit by his own teammate, Cleveland Ferrell, in practice on the arm for the first time. And I feel like he's already kind of gotten through whatever he needs to get through. And all the reports yesterday were his ball coming out looked like it was as hard as normal. The velocity was there. The accuracy was there. He looked like he hadn't missed any time due to injury. So all those things, and you add in the fact that he didn't look like he was gun-shy in any way, makes you feel good about him coming out of that game.
Really good. And again, that's my one-sentence takeaway from all the positivity of the Niners. Nothing beats this factor. If you're a Niner fan, you got your guy. You've got your quarterback.
Right.
To me, as a fan, it's the best feeling you can have in the NFL. I've told you this story before. My good buddy, who's a diehard Chiefs fan, we got into a debate at a party one night when Alex Smith had just taken the team to the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes was on the team. We didn't really know who he was going to be yet. And he had one too many, and he just kept yelling in my ear, Mahomes! Mahomes! And I'm like, but dude, Alex Smith, like, have a little respect on the name. Like, he takes you to the playoffs. I get it. There's limitations. Nobody knows it better than a 49er fan. But are you sure? And he'd be like, Mahomes! Mahomes! He just kept yelling it. And it's because he was very confident that the Chiefs had found their guy. And my gosh, was he right? And whenever you get that feeling, it's like you can sit back for maybe as much as 7 years and go, let's see what we can do with this. And the Chiefs have turned it into 2 bowls. The Bills are in the midst of seeing what they can do with it. The Bengals have gone to a bowl. I think the 49ers are about to head into a stretch where they've got their guy, provided health.
Yeah.
And let's see what they can do with it.
Yeah, and you saw yesterday what they can do, and it's not only Brock Purdy, but it's the entire offense and the way they run it. And then I talk personnel groups with you sometimes, and you glaze over, but when you watch the way they run their offense yesterday with the 2 running backs and the 1 tight end and the 2 receivers, that's their base package, and they can do so much out of that. Kyle Juszczyk played, I think, 62% of the snaps as a fullback, and that just tells you that you move him up as a tight end, second tight end in some formations. There was times when they went to 4 wide receivers with the fullback and McCaffrey on the line of scrimmage. They would go empty. So you go from having 2 running backs to no running backs to 2 tight ends and 1 running back, and you have the 2 receivers. Kyle Shanahan has got this Swiss Army knife offense. Deebo Samuel was a ball carrier. Ayuk, a primary receiver. You didn't need Kittle too much. McCaffrey was a monster. Juszczyk didn't touch the ball at all, but he was throwing all kinds of blocks out of that I formation, the offset I, the true I. I love watching Kyle's offense because every time he doesn't have to sub, and it looks different every single play. And it's fun to watch.
Yeah,
Not that I'm a super football geek, but when I watch Kyle's offense, I like to look at the huddle before they break, and you look, is Juszczyk in there? And if he's in there, most likely it's going to be 21 personnel, 2 running backs and the 1 tight end. And then, they're going to have the 2 receivers. And then you watch what he does. This guy's in motion this way. Here comes Deebo this way. McCaffrey's in the slot. He's a lone back. They're going empty. Kyle Shanahan must love calling these plays.
I watch very differently than you do. I watch them come to the line and I'm like, go team! Do something good.
I do that too, but I do, especially, whatever. I did 3 years of radio with Lo Neal, and Lo Neal would personnel group me. And a lot of times when you look at, especially when you see Dibs. Thank you, Lolo. When the Chargers yesterday, the Chargers were going to hurry up a lot because they didn't want Miami to sub. And yesterday, actually, Pittsburgh did that a couple of times. Pittsburgh went into a hurry up mode because they didn't want the Niners to be able to sub. And I was watching that, and I'm cracking up at home thinking, you don't have an advantage. If the Niners are in nickel, that means you've got Greenlaw and Fred Warner and 5 DBs. You still have problems. And if the Niners are in base, you don't have an edge. So why are you trying to hurry them up?
The whole thing, that's how it feels to me. When you start, you look at your personnel groups, you look at the depth of this team, you look at the different options that are on the table, and I'm telling you, I mean, they're such a problem. And that's the beauty of it. It's not so much, sure, you're looking at your team to play well, stay healthy, make good decisions, all of those things. But sometimes I look at this and I'm like, just imagine for a second you're the other team. What the hell do you do?
Right.
Like, if you're the coach, okay, you're Sean McVay right now, okay? You can sit down over the next few days, and you're going to dive in. What exactly are you planning to do?
Exactly.
Like, what options do you even have if you don't have Aaron Donald blow up the middle of the field on every play? There's too many matchup problems that the 49ers create.
And there are no tendencies to that point. I mean, so you come out and you see the Niners break the huddle, and they're in their typical 21 personnel, Juszczyk and McCaffrey, Ayuk and Debo, and Kittle's your tight end. Okay, what does that mean? Does that mean they're going to run the ball? Maybe. Maybe they're going to immediately flex Juszczyk out. Now we have a double tight end look. Or maybe they're going to break the huddle and they're going to go into a 4-wide formation, or maybe they're going to have just McCaffrey in the backfield, or maybe they'll just have Juszczyk in the backfield. You can't look at their team based on personnel and make any determination, and that's what makes them so hard.
Scott in Pennsylvania apparently went to the game. Scott, did you go to the game yesterday?
Yes, I sure did, yeah. My son, he just turned 10, so for his 10th birthday, we went down and watched the Niners stomp on the Steelers. And then after the game, Nick Bosa gave a glove to my son.
Get out of here.
It was completely, it was crazy.
Are you kidding me?
There you go, little man.
What did he say? What did Nick say to your son?
You know what? He was getting crowded by Pam Oliver and all them, so he just handed it over. He didn't get a chance to say anything, but my son Blake, he was ecstatic. And that, but yeah, he didn't get a chance to talk to him. But
what a dad! I mean, Dad of the Year votes pouring in for you, Scott. Attaboy.
Hang on a second, I got to talk to Pam Oliver.
That's a 4.
Yeah, all right, go ahead. I've been working on it. I've been in the lab this weekend. Anyway, go. Scott.
I'm looking at personnel groups, and you're doing your Bosa.
Sorry,
Scott.
I'm in the bathroom in the mirror, like there's a little bit too much Kermit. Hi, Pam. Anyway, go ahead, Scott. Scott, was it? Will you tell us about the takeover?
Niner fan base.
Yeah, what percentage?
Flying faithful.
What percentage was Niner fans?
I'm thinking 60-40 Steeler 49er fan, maybe 70-30, but there was a huge contingent of 49er fans. I always like to call them the flying faithful, because they're going everywhere. They're traveling everywhere to be at these games. And right from the start, when they elected to receive the kickoff, I'm like, this is bad news for these guys. I don't think they were trying to push that preseason momentum that they had over into the regular season, but this is not the right defense to be playing that game and that. And so, but really, I just wanted to quickly highlight Jake Moody and Mitch Wishnowsky. With Jake Moody, I don't know if you guys see it, but Tomlin called a timeout. They were trying to ice him again.
Yep.
They were trying to carry that over from the preseason. He overcame all that. His first game in the NFL, and he looked good. He looked great. And then Mitch, there's some times where I've been pretty down on Mitch these couple of years, but boy, he looked great, and the field positioning was phenomenal throughout the entire game, and Mitch was a huge part of that. So I just wanted to give a shout-out to those guys. I wanted to give a shout-out to the faithful. It's just awesome. It was a great week 1. My son's ecstatic. I'm so happy for him. And anyway, thanks, guys, for having me on.
Scott, great call, man, and good job yesterday getting out there. Happy birthday to your son, and what a moment with Nick Bosa. Never, ever forget that. That's tremendous stuff. So 60-40, 70-30. I mean, I don't know. I tend to think fans always up their percentage a little bit, but whatever it was, again, I'm still kind of blown away by that, dude. This was Pittsburgh for the opener.
The opener.
That's crazy.
Yeah, even if it was 80-20.
Yeah.
That still is a good, significant number. And like you mentioned, you could hear it coming through the TV with the Let's Go Niners chants and just, the crowd. When good things would happen for the 49ers, you could hear that, rah,
Totally.
Which is, that's telltale in its own.
Well, again, listen to this now, okay? This is the broadcast. Listen to what this sounded like, because in theory, this is right when the Steelers have pulled at least a tiny bit of momentum. They've scored right before the half. It's 20-7. Niners come out, get the ball. Take a listen to the crowd on this play.
Trying to do something here with Christian McCaffrey. Got a bruising block from Brandon Ayuk. Got another from Ray McLeod. Turned it into a touchdown. It's a 65-yard lightning strike from McCaffrey. Stealing the momentum right back.
What the hell is that? It sounds like it's a home game.
The crowd is going wild,
They're going
Mark.
crazy.
They're going crazy.
I mean, there's always noise on a loud touchdown run, but usually if it's a home team that's getting run on, it usually feels a little bit more like a moan, or like somebody grabbed everybody's throat, like a oh no thing is going on, like a oh stop him kind of a thing. That's not what that sounded like.
No, that sounded like unadulterated joy.
Right.
The crowd went wild. Is what that sounded like. And it is remarkable. Yeah, and I wonder if we can exactly trace when this happened, because it is somewhat of a recent phenomenon, and I do think it's built a lot on success. But right now, it's good to be a Niner fan, and if you are a Niner fan anywhere else in the country and you have a chance to see this act, to see this team in person, and 97 and 54 and 19 and 11 and 23, and there's so many guys, right now, Mark.
No doubt, but not just that. I'll also, suggest, and again, these excursions are not cheap. Tickets are not cheap. Plane flights are not cheap. But if this is something that is in your budget, my gosh, the experience, these plane flights, these airports, the walks to the stadium, lined by other 49er fans who all start talking to each other, strike up conversations, friendships. I mean, it's really overwhelming. It's crazy. Walking to Soldier Field last year was wild. Absolutely wild. The plane flights, wild. Bonte and his girl on the plane flight, like everybody talking to everybody geared up. It's really an experience.
Which road game do you want to go to, Mark? Let's pick one. Let's go. Maybe we can think about it during the break.
I'd like to go to Pittsburgh.
Well, come on, man. You got Philly, you got Jacksonville.
All right, I'll tell you what.
We got Cleveland.
Yeah,
Cleveland, this is for you.
Let me look at it.
All right.
And we'll come up with one.